welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's your girl Kayla. Today's video is going to be a long one because it is going to be a step-by-step beginner-friendly makeup tutorial. This is going to be a makeup tutorial if you're getting into makeup, you don't know where to start, brushes, everything, products to use. I'm going to give you guys the lowdown on what you should be using and how to use it to the best of your ability. If you guys are just getting into makeup or you already know a lot about makeup and you want to just go back to the basics a little bit, have a little rundown memory lane, then watch this video and, you know, get your snacks, get your Red Bull, get your coffee, get your tea, whatever you're doing, whatever time of day it is. You know, get some snacks, get some drinks, and do your makeup with me. And without further ado, let's get into this video. Whichever way it is. I don't remember which way I do my... Oh, it's not even a swish. It's like a... Yeah, okay. Alright, cool. I'm getting you guys as close as possible so that you can see everything that is happening up in here, because if I do it from far away, it just kind of defeats the purpose if you can't see what's going on up in my face. So first off, before you start anything, you want to start off with skincare. Skincare is going to be your best friend. I tell anybody that asks me questions about my face, what foundation I'm using, whatever, because I'll say the foundation that I'm using and I'll explain how I'm using it, and they're like, well, I do that, but it doesn't look like that. And it's mainly because of skincare. I'll always tell people the first thing you need to focus on before you do anything into makeup is skincare, because otherwise you're going to have a lot of bumps and just areas where you're not happy with and you're going to be trying to cover up. You shouldn't be trying to cover up. You should be trying to accentuate your face. I'm going to prime my face and then go into like eyebrows and stuff. Okay, so I'm taking 2 primers on my face today because I'm having a lot of issues with my combination oily skin. Lately, my chin has been very dry, so I'm going to be taking a blur and pore minimizing primer right here. I don't have any hydrating primers. I mean, I do, but I don't have any that are inexpensive in a drugstore because I don't have that much issues with my dry areas. So recently it's been bad, so I'm taking this one because it won't mattify my face and create any more dry patches. However, for the oily areas, which is on my T-zone, except for my chin right now, but mostly my cheeks and my forehead, I am taking the Makeup Obsession Game Set Matte. This is my absolute favorite drugstore mattifying primer. You can find this at Target, and the Maybelline Master Prime is the other one. You can also find this at a lot of drugstores, Walgreens, anywhere where they sell Maybelline, Walmart, Target, anything like that. I wanted to keep everything as accessible as possible, and you can also buy things online if you guys aren't comfortable going into the stores at the moment. So I just wanted to do drugstore and accessible as well. And you do want to prime your face because that is going to be a barrier between your makeup and your face. If you think about it, if you're applying makeup straight to your face without anything to protect it in between, then first off, it's probably not going to last as long, especially if you have oily skin or even mattified skin. Oh my god. If you have dry skin, it won't last as long because foundation tends to stick to those areas or slide right off if you have a lot of oiliness. Another thing is a lot of people will say, I don't need primer. And I'm like, girl, think about it like this. If you're applying makeup straight to your face with no barrier in between, you're just letting the makeup seep into your skin versus a primer that has also skincare benefit. From here, I'm taking the Maybelline Master Prime Blur and Pore Minimizing Primer, and I'm placing this in the dry areas. Honestly, it's just my chin right now that I'm having issues with, which is very frustrating. And the awesome thing about the other one, the Game Set Matte, it is also blurring and pore minimizing, so it's essentially doing the same effect, except one isn't mattifying my face, the other one is. And when I say taking primer, just want to let you guys know, just kind of like that much will go a long way. I'm gonna let the primer settle in, and I'm gonna go with eyebrows. Now, usually I do different things. For brows today, we're going to be doing it simple. We're not using the brow pomade. We're not doing my brows how I normally would do it. This is, if you're first starting out, definitely, I cannot stress this enough. I would say fill in your eyebrows with brow powder or anything. I have this LA Girl Shady Slim Brow Pencil, which is a really great inexpensive brow pencil. I bought this for like $3. It was on sale. Normally they're like $5. Super inexpensive. You can get this on Ulta.com, or you can find this. I saw this at Target too, so you can find it there. Another thing you can do is just get some eyeshadow. If you don't feel like going out or you feel a little uncomfortable, I'll do 2 ways of doing it. So I'll do one brow eyeshadow and I'll do the other brow with a pencil. If you don't feel comfortable with the pencil yet, then definitely use an eyeshadow. It's going to be a lot easier, and you would use an eyebrow brush to go with that. Now the problem is I don't use any inexpensive brow brushes because I feel, and I mean from experience, I've tossed out my other ones because the inexpensive ones don't do as good as a job as my expensive ones. So I have the Benefit brow brush, and then I also have the Anastasia. The logo is erased. It's like faded because I've used it that much. This is so good. I will always recommend to people, just with the brow brushes, I would say splurge. I'm gonna take my hairspray just because I'm trying a new technique today. My eyebrows are never the same, so I'm just showing you guys pretty much what I'm doing today. I take some hairspray and lightly coat it onto the spoolie end of the brush, and I'm going to vigorously apply that on my brows. This is like $4. It honestly, it's $4 to $6. It's not that expensive. Oops. You can also use brow gel. I do not have an inexpensive brow gel. I just have expensive ones. Therefore, I'm not using one. But you can do this. This is kind of like soap brows. It's going to give you the natural fluffy brows, and you just go and fill it in from there. What I'm going to do is I'm taking my brow pencil, and this is in the shade Blackest Brown. Push that up just a little bit. We don't want to put it too far because we don't want to break the pencil. Essentially what I will do is I'll draw hair-like strokes along the bottom part of my brows. If I was filling it with a brow pomade, I would definitely outline my brows and then fill it in with the pomade. But since we're not doing that today, we're going to lightly start from the inner part of my brows and fill in the sparse areas, making it look like I have more hair than I do. And I'm just ever so lightly like holding it, kind of like you would a pencil, and just lightly flicking the pencil through my brow. And as you can see, it's already like making a difference. It's the slightest thing, but it's making a difference. I would definitely, I'm stressing on this, if you're using the pencil, don't draw, like I do this lightly because I'm so used to it, but definitely don't put a lot of pressure onto the pencil because you don't want, well, it just depends. It depends on what you want, but if you're starting out, I would definitely say start off lightly and then work your way darker, because you just don't want to have to take off your makeup and redo it again if you don't like it. And you can definitely carve out your brows too with some concealer, which I'll show you right now. So as far as like the shape goes, you don't need to be too neat, but definitely creating the shape. Now, if you have brows, all you're gonna have to do is just lightly fill it in. Any areas that you see are sparse, just lightly fill it in. And then as far as the top part of the brow goes, I just do I feather it out. And I just go along the top of the brow how I would like it to be. And as you can see, that has already created so much of a difference in my brows. And see, now when I've gotten the shape of my brow, I'll definitely go in and make it a bit darker. And I'll just fill it into my liking. Definitely the best thing about these kinds of brow products that have the spoolies on the end is you can be working and then you can flip over really quickly and start diffusing. So when I do this, I'm not erasing, but I'm just diffusing the areas that have gone a little too dark or a little too far. So I'm going to do the other side with some powder. I bought one of those e.l.f. bite-sized eyeshadow palettes to use today. I wanted to keep everything inexpensive, and I've been eyeing these since I saw Sylvia Ghani's video. This palette is called Pumpkin Pie. These are $3, so I'm really excited to try this out. But I'm going to be taking the darker brown shade in here. It's like a cool tone, and I'm going to be using my brow brush. This is an angled brow brush. You can get an angled liner brush, anything that would work for you. And I'm just going to dip it into the powder. I know that NYX Cosmetics has these eyebrow things that I used to use when I first started doing makeup, and that works great. I don't know where they're at, and even if I have it, it's probably expired. But you can just use eyeshadow, so it's great. You don't have to go out and buy multiple products. So I'm just going to show you guys here. What I would do is, if I'm doing a pomade, I would definitely just line the brow the way I want it to. Again, if you have more brow hairs than I do and it's not as sparse as mine, definitely just fill in like the areas that you are missing some hair. Just bring it back. And again, you just shape it the way you want. I'm not the type of person that grooms my eyebrows like other people do. I don't pluck or anything like that. I get a little face razor. These are like little face razors. They're eyebrow razors, face razors. I like to shave the sides of my face and also my eyebrows. I just have to touch them up. I don't pluck. My eyes are very sensitive, so I cry really easily. As you can see, while you can fill your eyebrows in with eyeshadow, I prefer actual brow pencil because you can get hair-like strokes and it looks more like your brow versus the powder. So I'm going to carve these out from here. I just want to show you this. You can definitely skip this step. You don't have to, but I definitely think that they make the brows look sharper and just more put together. So this is the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer in the shade Medium Sand. I'm just going to take a flat concealer brush or an eyeshadow brush, as long as it's flat and compact. I'm just gonna go ahead and edge up the eyebrows. This is essentially like erasing the mistakes. I feel like even when I've done my brows really well and they look snatched and everything, like this side looks pretty good. But I find that when I don't conceal, it looks okay, right? It looks good. But when I conceal, like you'll just see right now, I don't know, it transforms it so differently. So you can already see the difference. Make sure you blend it out really well. You can also take a beauty sponge and blend it out if you're in a hurry. Just make sure you don't get any of the concealer in your eyebrow. Something I want to note, I do rest my pinky on my lip, so that way I have a steadier hand, because I have very unsteady hands. So like doing stuff like eyeliner or anything like that, it is a little difficult for me. You can also do the top part of your brow. Let me just show you guys what it looks like. I feel like this is if you have more time, but since we're in quarantine, honestly, you will probably have a lot of time to practice. And by the time you're out of quarantine, you're gonna be looking snatched, girl. I'm telling you. Moving on to the rest of the face. We already primed our face. What I really like to do, because I have oily skin, I always recommend this if you have oily skin. I would definitely take some translucent powder or just some sort of powder. I'm taking the Maybelline Fit Me loose powder. This is the absolute best powder. It is inexpensive. It's like $8. I have this and I have it in Fair 10. I don't use this as often, but this is like a great like baking powder, although since it isn't translucent, it does leave a white cast on my face, so I don't use this one as much. So this is the shade 30 Medium Deep. You see right here, this is what it looks like. I'm going to take it on an e.l.f. sponge. These are so good. And I'm just going to take the flat side of the sponge, dip it in the powder, apply it all over my face, and just bounce it into your face. As you can see, when you have oily skin, it definitely mattifies it and it gives you like a smoother base to work with too. And because I'm using this one that has a bit of color in it, oh my god, I got it in my eye. Did you see that? Because I'm using this one that has a bit of color in it, it also gives me, and since it is a foundation as well, it does give me some coverage. I'm sorry if I have my hand up like this the whole time. Yeah, it gives me some coverage in there as well. And don't forget your forehead, or 5-head in my case. My wig covers a lot of it, so that's great. And again, what this does is if you have oily skin, this is going to take away a lot of the oils initially, because either way, right now I look matte, but like in a few hours, I'm gonna be oily. You know, I'm not gonna be super oily. This helps a lot with it, So like in a few hours, instead of me looking oily and gross and disgusting, I look like just, it looks really nice. So I am taking my foundation. This is a Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless foundation. They also have a dewy line, so if you guys have dry skin, I would definitely recommend to try that one out, but this is the mattifying one for oily skin. Go out on a day without makeup and just see how your skin reacts. Does your skin get greasy and oily like if you wipe it off? Not sweaty, there's a difference. Now if you just wipe it off, do you have oils on your fingers? Is it a lot? Is it to the point to where you're like, I don't like this? Or is your skin very dry? Do you have dry, flaky patches? I would definitely recommend exfoliating, especially if you have dry skin. Just gauge your skin and see how your skin reacts throughout the day and get to know your skin, because the better you know your skin, the better your makeup's gonna look. If you know the way it's gonna react throughout the day, you'll know the products to use as long as you just look them up and, you know, just gauge on what you have. This is a really great starter foundation. This is a really great foundation, period. This is the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless foundation. Like I said, I am in the shade 322 Warm Honey. And this is, not gonna lie, unsanitary, but it's okay. It's a great starter foundation. It's like $5. It is inexpensive. Oh, I put way too much. There are two ways to go about this. If you want a full coverage look, then you would definitely want to use a flat kabuki brush. The one I recommend is the NYX Professional Makeup brush. This is the number 37 brush. It's flat kabuki. And if you want to do that, I guess I can do my right side with that so you guys can see, just depending on what you have, what you want to do. So I'm going to do my right side of my face with this, and what I do is just dab it into the foundation on the back of my hand. If you have a mixing plate, that's even better, because you don't have to worry about, you don't have to worry about foundation on your hand. I always forget to wash off the foundation on my hand, so I always go out to work with like a splotch of foundation, which is funny. But what you want to do if you're going to go full coverage or with a brush, definitely same thing as like with a sponge. You're gonna what's the word? Oh my god, they used to say this all the time when I was learning how to do makeup. I can't think of the word. It's like pounce, but that's not what I'm thinking of. But as you can see, foundation, I have not used it in forever, and I repurchased it today because I knew that this is a really great starting foundation. And again, just the foundation in general, but oh my god, look at that. Look at that. Oh, that looks so beautiful. I don't even want to use the sponge now, but I want to show you guys like the two different. What is the freaking word I'm trying to think? I can't think of it, but I'm gonna put it on the screen, because when I learned how to do makeup, there's a word for this. You don't drag it, don't wipe it around your face, because you're just gonna move things around. It's not really going to sit on your face. It's just going to be in patchy areas. I'm sure you've heard this before if you've watched videos. Always, always, always bring it down to your neck, because you do not want that mask of like me right now. My chest is a little bit lighter than this foundation mask, so like bringing it down to your neck and even your ears, because you see how my ear is a lot lighter than the rest of it. Oops. Oh, I've not used this foundation in a hot minute. It looks super good. Look at that. Oh, this is beautiful. My forehead. So I'm pouncing the brush on my face. Again, not going in circles, not dragging it, just because I don't want to create smears. You will definitely be able to tell if your brush is dirty, because when you're applying your foundation, you can get a brush and it'll look great the first few times you apply your foundation, and then once it starts getting dirty and you're not washing your brush, you will see streakiness, and that means to clean your brush. If you guys are just like, wait, why does my makeup not look as good as it used to? That's why. So I'm gonna take an e.l.f. face sponge. This is a really great sponge because it has this dome side that I like to use for my face when I'm applying foundation, and it has this flat edge side, which is great for baking, concealer, anything like that. I would really suggest getting a sponge with a flat edge, because you're able to like get in these like areas right here if you want to clean up your under eye, anything like that. If you want to, you know, clean up or bake on your nose, you can definitely do that. Taking some foundation, which is now running down my hand, and I'm just going to pounce the sponge on the other side of my face. You definitely want to wet your sponge damp. So what I do is, typically I didn't used to wash my sponges every single day, but it's actually very gross, and it's probably one of the reasons why you're breaking out so much too, if you're just using dirty brushes, dirty products all over your skin. Oftentimes, and I'm that girl too, don't get me wrong, if you look at my brushes, a lot of them are dirty. I get it. But a lot of times I do see a lot of people that on TV or whatever, that they have a dirty makeup sponge, and just washing it every day, when you go to damp it, like when you go to wet your sponge to dampen it, I would just, you know, take the few extra minutes, put some soap on it, wash it out, wring it out, and really let the water soak up in there. And what I do is I have another one too because I just washed it. I get a paper towel and I'll squeeze out as much water as I can, then I get a paper towel and then I'll squeeze it even more, and a lot of the moisture will stay on the towel. So when I have the sponge, it's just a damp beauty sponge. And what this does when it's damp is it's not going to allow the sponge to soak up a lot of product. The product does go in it, it's not as much as brushes or stuff like that. I would definitely say also when you're doing your skincare, making sure you're really getting out the makeup that's in the crease of your nose, because it is a number one tell. A lot of people get these dry areas around their nose, it starts getting a little patchy there. You get blackheads there because a lot of people don't really focus that much on their nose when they're doing their skincare. But the sponge gives you more of a natural, realistic look, depending on the foundation. There are just some foundations that are full coverage no matter what. Just make sure you're getting your neck too, guys. Matched. We're looking good. From here, I'm going to be taking my e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer in the shade Medium Sand, and I'm just going to apply this under my under eyes. If you guys have dark circles, this is going to be your best friend. If you have any acne scarring, I would say find a concealer that matches the best to your foundation that you're using, or to your skin tone, and just apply it on the areas that you have dark spots. Acne is different, but acne is very hard to just conceal in general. I'm just applying a little bit there. So this concealer is really good. I'm going to take the corner part of my sponge, and I'm just going to blend that in lightly, ever so lightly, dabbing it. You don't want to be too rough, especially around your eyes. Your eyes are very delicate. Taking a concealer that is a couple shades lighter than my skin tone, because it's going to brighten my under eyes. So if you have any under eye circles, there's a way you can conceal and then you can also brighten. So I would definitely recommend getting two concealers, one that matches your skin tone so you can conceal very well, and then another one that is a bit brighter, like 2 shades brighter than your skin tone, and that one would definitely highlight your under eyes, just make it look brighter and more awake. And this makes a huge difference. Can also take a little bit, maybe even the excess. If you want, you can apply some concealer on your chin to really highlight that area, because now what this is doing is it's giving dimension, but since there is excess left over, you can see I'm applying it on my chin. The excess that was already on the sponge from here, I did not apply anymore. Apply that on my chin. You can also do your nose for nose contouring, but that's a little bit more complicated. But as you can see here, my face doesn't look so flat. Now I have a bright under eye that really just brings, you know, everybody's attention to my eyes, but also makes it look brighter, makes me look more awake. And then also the chin too, it gives it more dimension. So it looks like, it makes my cheekbones look like they're higher. So don't go any further than your cheekbones right here, because then you don't want to highlight the parts of your face that you want to just contour, I guess you say, make you look more like snatched. From here, we were doing powder. Normally, I would contour. Contouring's like a whole other thing. Like contour's gonna take a minute. I'm just saying. I'm gonna be real with you guys. Contour is something that I still struggle to figure out the best method for myself. So I'm taking more of that Maybelline Fit Me that I used earlier. I'm just applying this on the areas of my face that I did not apply that highlighting concealer. And this is just going to set the face, because if you apply bronzer over a wet product, a liquid product, it's going to get muddy and it just looks really bad. So even though you may think you've applied enough powder on your face, you just want to make sure you go over it and you don't feel any sticky spots. Because what the sticky spots are going to do is allow the bronzer to stick onto that, and when you apply more bronzer, it just gets muddy and it gets patchy. On the other side, I also apply this on the edges of my face, again, where I didn't apply the highlighting concealer. This is the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop powder. I haven't even seen this. I've used the concealer and I've used the concealer, the primer, and the foundation, but I have not used the powder yet. So we are definitely going to use that today. I always have like a good pair of tweezers lying around so I can get all of the packaging off, because A, I don't want to ruin my nails, and B, I just can never pull it off even when I have nails. Because I am darker skin tone, I am mixed. I use a yellow powder for baking. Baking sounds a lot more complicated than it is. It's literally just taking a powder and applying it under your under eyes. And what I do is just do a little bit of a lighter powder. In my case, I'm doing yellow because yellow really brightens olive and darker undertones. Just some on my sponge, as you can see here. Another powder I would recommend is the Maybelline Fit Me. Like I said, I use the fair one. I'm just going to show you guys what it looks like if I apply that on too. But the thing is that this one I use is fair light, so it still has a yellow undertone to it. Depending on your undertones, you want to go with a different highlighting powder or like a baking powder. So I want to make sure, because I have olive undertones, I want to make sure that I get a yellow powder. Sorry, I keep wanting to say yellow undertone. And this, as you can see, really does brighten up. But the problem about this one is that you can't leave it on for too long. It gives you a really white cast on your face. What I'm doing from here, as you can see, I didn't leave it on too long. You don't need to bake that long, especially so if you guys have more mature skin, or even sometimes if you have dry skin, baking isn't your best friend. So as you can see, I didn't leave it on that long, not even like a minute and a half. And what I'm doing is I'm flicking out lightly though. I'm not just like dragging it all across my face. I'm lightly flicking the powder off of my face. This is my absolute favorite bronzing brush. This is the Morphe M527. I discovered this a few years ago, and honestly I've loved it ever since. But I'm taking my butter bronzer from Physicians Form. This is in the shade Deep. Go. You guys are about to watch magic happen. And ever so lightly, just apply this. Woo! And see the difference that this makes. It just gives color back to your face. Another thing too, if you smile, just bring a little bit under the apples of your cheeks. Just a little bit. You don't want to drag too much. Just lightly apply that. And it brings your cheeks together. It just brings everything together. It's so good. So good on the other side. You also want to apply your bronzer depending on how big your forehead. I have a big forehead, but I'm wearing a wig, so you can't really tell. You want to make your forehead look a little bit smaller. Definitely applying bronzer on the edges of your forehead, just bringing it in more. I like to have color all over. I don't like to have just bronzer on my cheeks and nothing on my forehead, because that looks weird to me. So the whole 3, 3, E, still a thing. And also don't forget your jaw, because this will help with if you have a double chin. Clearly it's not going to erase my double chin, but it just gives the illusion that I don't have one. I'm not going to get into carving the face. We're not going to do that. You know what? No, we're going to do it because it's essential. It's essential for me. I can't not carve my face out. That's weird. I'm going to take my Fair Light powder from Maybelline Fit Me, and this is where I say this kind of sponge is really great. So I'm going to take the edge of the sponge, dip this into the powder so you guys can see that. Okay, so the top of your ear, you want to draw this line to your outer corner of your lip. I'm like, what is this called? And this is how you carve out your cheeks. That's way too much powder. Way too much powder. I'm gonna have so much fun blending that out. I'm gonna do this to the other side quickly because I applied way too much powder. You don't even need to let this sit. Just leaving it like this, because this isn't a translucent powder, me just trying to wipe it away right now, it's already carved out the cheeks. So you can wait until you're almost done doing your makeup if you'd like to carve this out. Oh, I applied way too much, girl. Just make sure you don't apply as much as I did. You just want it to look like you're snatched, you know? What I would recommend from here, unless you know what kind of eye look you're going to do, I mean, I kind of do, so I could do my blush. But I would just recommend doing it in this way, because if you do a certain eye look, you're not sure what you feel for your eyes today, I would definitely say do your eyes first and then do your blush, because you want to match your blush to your eyes. You don't want to just do your blush and then do your eyes and it mismatches. So I'm going to take the e.l.f. pumpkin pie little 4-pan that's $3 that I got from Target. I'm going to apply some concealer on my lids, just a little bit, like 1 dot on each side, because this acts as an eye primer. You do not need an eye primer, ladies and gents. It is a waste of money. Concealer works just as great as eye primer. Honestly, I've not purchased eye primers since I first started doing makeup, because ever since I found out that concealer works just as great, I was like, wait, why am I wasting my money? From here, I'm taking my Morphe x Jaclyn Hill JH30, yeah, the JH30 brush. It's a fluffy brush. It's the fluffy crease brush, so you guys can see what it looks like. So I'm going to take the lighter brown shade, and we are just going to go in the crease in windshield wiper motions. You can kind of feel it under your, like in between your eyeball and your brow bone. You just feel like a little space in between there, and that is where your crease is. Now, if you want to create another crease, like a different crease, depending on if you have hooded eyes or not, that's a different story. That's a little bit more complicated. We're just doing something really simple here and really just blending it out. Now, something that people don't show you when they're filming is how long it actually takes to blend. When I would watch eyeshadow tutorials, I would be like, oh my god, it doesn't take that long to blend. Like, why is mine not blended right? I just don't know how to blend. No, you need to literally sit there for a minute and make sure it's a really nice, like, blown out, blended look. And also, not really pushing your brush up on your eye is a good thing too. Don't push your brush onto your eye really hard. Just lightly dust this. And that also helps a lot with the blending process too. Another thing too is the lower you hold your brush, I don't want to say the less control you have, but the less pressure you're able to apply onto your eye. Therefore, you won't cause a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? Wrinkles, there you go. You won't cause a lot of wrinkles, you won't damage your eye as much, and it's easier to blend like that. You're not going a little too heavy-handed. So the higher up that you hold your brush, you have more control, and it just allows you to, you know, you're putting more pressure on your eyes, but you're also probably gonna have a harder time blending out your product. It's better to build up versus apply too much and then have to blend it out. As you can see, every pause that I'm doing, I am just going back into my palette to apply more product. From here, taking the same brush and I'm applying the darker brown in the crease, sorry, in the outer corner. What I'm doing here is just imagine like a V, like this. It's essentially what you want to do with the darker colors. Just to deepen up the outer corner. It really gives you some nice depth. And as you can see, that's given my eye much more depth without making it look too crazy. Like I don't look like I'm going out to the club, you know? Just gonna go and try to blend it as best as I can too. I'm gonna do this slower so you guys can see. So what I do is I apply it in the outer corner and I just will lightly I'll lightly bring it up to like the outer edge of my brow, but not all the way. It's just the direction that I'm going. And then once I get a good feel of that, I start bringing it in towards the crease like this, and that's the V. That's how I make that V. So that's why when people say outer V, that is essentially what you want to do. So outwards towards the brow, but not all the way, just in the direction towards the brow, the end of the brow, and then inwards along your crease. Some more of that other brown. Really create a nice diffusion. Not too much, like I said. You only need 2 brushes. So if you want, I'm going to use this brush from the same kit. So if you want to get that kit, you definitely can. I always have a towel, like an old towel, on my station when I'm working, because if I need to clean a brush or anything like that, I just like to wipe off brushes and don't do it on a surface you don't want to get dirty. I just have an old towel just sitting here I'm gonna mix these two. We're gonna have to get a different inner corner highlight because none of these are like bright enough. Oh, this is beautiful. So I'm gonna show you guys, I'm just applying this on the lid. And the brush that I'm using is the Morphe X Jaclyn Hill JH41 brush. It is a flat shader brush. Not my favorite, but it does get the job done. It's really good for glitters. I really like it for glitters. I'm just lightly going over my lid. If you would like to work on intensifying your lid shade, definitely say, oh, another thing too is I'm not going all the way to the outer corner because that takes away from the depth that we just did. Another thing too, if you want shimmers to be more shimmery, more accentuated, I cannot think of the word, I literally can't think. You can just take some of your setting spray. I'm taking the Wet n Wild Matte Finish setting spray. I'm just gonna go ahead and spray the brush twice, then dip your brush back into, don't wait for it to dry, just dip it back into your product. And again, I'm mixing the two, and then you can just go ahead and apply it. This is a really cute palette. I was watching Sylvia Ghani's makeup tutorial with it, and she didn't, well, not this specific one, I think she used a different one. She didn't really like it, and I was just like a little hesitant because I'm like, dude, these look so pretty. Like, they're small, they're inexpensive, and they remind me of the Natasha Denona palettes, but like not even a fraction of the price. And I actually really like this. This is cute. Now, something you can do to go back in if you've gone a little too far here, I always do it because it just adds more depth and it just looks better in my opinion. I'm gonna take some more of the darker shade and I'm just gonna go in this outer corner and really blend the two together so that it looks like it's blended in versus just the glitter, the shimmer just stops there, you know? It's really blended in there. I'm not going to do liner, but I'm going to take another, so again, if you guys want to just get the brush hit, it's a set of, I don't even know how many brushes come in it, but it's a little black bag. I cannot talk. It comes in this little glittery makeup bag, which is great because you can carry this with you, carry pencils. I cannot carry my makeup in here to save my life, so I don't know, but it comes in this little glittery bag, so you get this. If you can just put some things in here for your makeup, that's great. This is the Morphe Jaclyn Hill JH43. This is a flat shader brush, but it's more of like a squared off edge. If you're doing any sort of eyeshadow and you're doing it to this extent, this isn't even like much, but if you're doing this, I highly suggest you smoke out your lower lash line. I cannot just throw mascara and call this a day because I've done this to the top of my eyes and it just looks unbalanced. So I'm taking some of the darker brown shade and applying this on the lower lash line, not in your waterline. You're just applying it right where your lashes are, just lightly. Now with this, so you don't close off your eye, I would recommend just going halfway on your lower lash line, sorry, and just really smoking this out. Curl my lashes real quick. I'm sure everybody knows how to curl their lashes. It is scary though, and yes, just be careful because you can definitely take out some of your lashes, so just be very cautious when you're doing your lash curling. I'm going to take my mascara. I'm just going to apply a couple coats. Now, when I first started doing mascara, I didn't realize coats meant you apply it, then you let it dry, and the second coat is you apply it again, because I would just think like, okay, I applied it again, even though it hasn't dried, that's the second coat. No, the second coat is once it dries, that's the second coat. Or like when it's almost dry. Because I feel like once it dries, it's a little hard to add more mascara to your eyes. I'm gonna tell you guys, I'm not gonna apply false lashes today, but depending on the makeup look, if you want to start getting into crazier makeup look, applying falsies makes a huge difference. Like there's a lot of times where you'll just be like, oh, well, I did my makeup and I tried to do this makeup look like all colorful or cut crease or whatever, and you don't apply lashes and you're like, it looks just like, it doesn't look right. Well, it's because you didn't apply false lashes. When you apply false lashes, it makes the world of a difference. Take Nikki Tutorials, for example. Go look at every single one of her makeup tutorials and look at her makeup before she applies a falsie, and after she applies the falsie, and it just makes a huge difference. Now, when you're applying your mascara, try to get as close as you can to the root, meaning the closer part to your actual lid, and just wiggling it through your lashes. Something I like to do to help it wiggle through is I like to slowly blink as I'm wiggling the mascara through my lashes, because I feel like that coats it better. I haven't applied makeup in a hot minute because I've had some like family things going on. I just hadn't felt like putting on makeup, and like putting on makeup today, it just makes me feel really nice. Right before I do the next application on my lashes, I'm gonna apply some Mario Badescu lip balm. Super good. I want my lips to be ready for when I apply my lipstick. Now we're gonna go in with another coat. And any areas, if you guys have applied your mascara and you get any mascara on your lid, I want to see if I think I got some, oh, like right here. You wait for it to dry, and then what you do is you take your spoolie and lightly comb through it, but like from side to side, and it will get rid of your mascara spots on your eyes instantly without ruining your makeup. I wanted to use this because I just bought this. If you haven't seen my haul, go check it out after this video. I bought this BH Cosmetics Vanilla Cream Truffle palette, and it's a blush palette. I think I'm going to take a mixture of, I think I'm going to take a mixture of these two. I'm taking a Morphe M405, and I'm just going to mix the two. That might have been too much, who knows, we're about to find out. And I'm just going to go ahead and smile and apply that on the apples of my cheeks. But then what I also like to do is bring it up along my cheekbones too. This is me, I really like that look of blush that goes all along the cheekbones, and then some like really nice highlighter on top of that. I really like it. It really brings the look together. My go-to highlighting palette that's inexpensive is the Essence Glow To Go highlighting palette. Don't remember exactly how much this was, but it's inexpensive. Essence, if you do not know, is an inexpensive brand, and it's so good. I haven't even made a dent, and I've used it so much. They don't still sell that. Another good one is the Milani highlighting palette. This is the Stellar Lights highlighter palette in Rose Glow. I'm gonna take my highlighting brush. This is the Real Techniques. It's actually a setting brush, but your girl likes to use it as a highlighting brush. So I'm gonna take a mixture of these three, lightly dust it off, and just apply it on the high points of your cheeks, ever so lightly. And this allows you to have that glowy look without getting oily, so it's great. You don't look greasy. Oh, another thing too, applying it on the bridge of your nose and also the tip of your nose. It just adds a nice highlight to your face. Also, if you don't know how to contour, just applying it on the little tip of your nose really just makes your nose look contoured. Taking a Jaclyn Hill X Morphe JH39 brush, these two, we're gonna mix them both, and I'm applying that on the inner corner, and this is really going to brighten the eye and make you look more awake. So you can see the difference in the two. Another thing that'll make your eyes look brighter is if you take a nude eyeliner. I'll probably just do it today so you guys can see, and apply this on your waterline. It makes your eyes look a lot brighter and more awake, so it's a really great look for going to work or going to school, anything where you don't want to look too crazy. Some people like to apply highlight on their brow bone. I'm not really that kind of person. I'm just gonna apply a little bit. I'm really not that kind of person. I think it makes my eyebrows look weird. Taking this Pixie by Petra Endless Silky Eye Pen. It is the only eyeliner that I have that is nude, but you can take any nude eyeliner. NYX has some really great ones, and a good thing to do, take your sponge and just apply it. And as you can see, that makes a huge difference. So from here, we're gonna do lips. I have my favorite go-to lips at the moment. My go-to lip combo are actually these three. And this is the Morphe lip liner in Sugar Pie, the Milani Ludicrous lip gloss in Whatever, and the Maybelline matte lipstick in Daringly Nude. Lining your lips is really going to help out preventing your lipstick from feathering, meaning preventing your lipstick from running. So if you want to do red lips, get yourself a red lip liner. Definitely get a lip liner that is a little bit darker or matches the lipstick that you're using. I recommend when you're doing nude lips to get something that's darker than the lipstick that you're using, just like 1 to 2 shades, because it's going to make your lips look bigger. So that's the goal that we're going for, what I'm going for. I like to have bigger looking lips because your girl cannot afford lip injections. Oh my god, lip injections. As I start off where my lip line naturally is, and then the lower I go, like the further down I get on my lip, the lower I will go on my lip. Not too much, just a tad. When you get to the other side, bring it back up to where it's supposed to be. For your top lip, I would just recommend going a tad bit higher than your lip line, and then just bring it right back down to where your lip actually is. You're almost done, guys. I swear my videos normally aren't this long, but I just really wanted to go in depth in this video. I'm gonna take my Maybelline Darling Nude lipstick. Now for gloss, I'm taking the Milani Ludicrous lip gloss in the shade Whatever. Before I finish doing the lip gloss, I want to take more of the lip liner and just apply it on the outer corner of the lips, and that'll make the lip look bigger. Don't bring it all the way in. You want the inner part of your lips to be lighter. Now we're going over with lip gloss. We're going to finish off with some setting spray. This is the Wet n Wild Matte Finish setting spray, and this is super inexpensive. I just wanted to give you guys inexpensive items. What you want to do is keep this like quite a bit away from your face, because if it's too close and it's too wet, it can start to, you know, take some of your makeup off and just make it separate. So we're just going to go ahead and be sure to fan it off. Let it dry. Alright, so that is it for my very easy, glowy, everyday makeup look for beginners. This is something that, yes, I did take a minute to do, only because I was describing it to you guys. If this was an everyday thing, I would do this within 5 minutes. Scratch that, 10 minutes, because the eyeshadow would have taken me an extra few minutes to do, because I like to be precise with the eyeshadow. But the more you practice it, the more you do it every single day, you get faster, and you just get that muscle memory, and you're able to do it quicker. So I would definitely recommend, while you're in quarantine, to practice your makeup, because by the time you get out and you go back to work, girl, you're gonna be a pro. Trust me, if you have every single day to practice, literally take an hour a day just to practice. Again, I know it was a long video, but hopefully you stuck with me to the end, and hopefully this was able to help you go with you side by side, so you didn't have to keep pausing the video too much, and you were able to do it as I was doing it and learn and go, you know, look back and forth. I just wanted to be really descriptive with this video. I hope it helped out a lot, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button to join the K-Babe family, and also I'll talk to you guys in my next one. Okay, bye guys.